Close your eyes and use your imagination as I explain what happened to me last week. I was at a social gathering with my real friends, and there's this random guy standing next to me. We're all talking about baseball or something, and at the soonest opportunity, he opens his big gaping maw and interjects a bunch of animal screeching and other sounds of death. And among all of it was the question, have you guys ever seen Blade Runner 2049? And he went on like a 45-minute monologue about his insights about the movie. And I sat there silently just watching in disgust, and I should have spoken up. And you know what I should have said? Hey man, you're regurgitating what you saw on a YouTube video essay. There's literally millions of them. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of this movie. I'm sick of hearing about it. Stop talking about... Get out of here, weeb. Cells. When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you on a leash? Cells. Cells. What's it like to hold the hand of the girl you love? Interlinked. I wouldn't know. Interlinked. The stalls are occupied. Where do you pee? Interlinked. Into the sink. You long to having your heart interlinked? Interlinked. Interlinked. You dream about needing to pee? Interlinked. What's it like to hold your pee for too long? Interlinked. Interlinked.
With incels interlinked.
Within cells interlinked. You say that 3 times, within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked. Within cells into the sink. Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked.
Good boy. We're done. You can pick up your bonus.
Thank you, sir. Blade Runner 2049 is a 2017 film directed by Denis Villeneuve. It is a sequel to the 1982 film Blade Runner. It's better than the original, in my opinion, because the original didn't really have a story. I mean, it did, but it was mostly just 2 hours of symbolic imagery. This one actually had a plot that you could follow. And this one also doesn't have that problematic romance scene in it. But like, Ridley Scott, what were you thinking? But my favorite part of the movie was that the director and the writers saw the snobby fan base of the original movie, and they decided to make the whole premise of this sequel about deconstructing and making fun of them. And that's not true, but I'm gonna try to make it true. The first time I saw this movie was on the floor in my dark room on a pirated website, and when it was over, I was like, wow. This is the best movie ever made. And then my personality metamorphosized into Ryan Gosling's character. And that's why I'm sick of the movie, because that happened to me, and it also happened to 20 million other guys that saw this movie. That story I told at the beginning of the video was a fictionalized version of a real event. But I wasn't there watching this guy. I was that guy. The main character, Kay, or Joe, is very easy for young men to step into the shoes of. He's a mysterious loner robot killer guy who is also a robot. You know, he fits the perfect archetype of the lone rider, cowboy, western man. And he walks around with his hologram girlfriend, wife. She's just manufactured by a terrifying company in a futurescape nightmare land version of Los Angeles. Even his memories are manufactured because he's a robot, but this is upended when he finds out that his memories might be real.
Someone lift this, yes.
This starts a Chosen One plot line where he might actually be Decker and Rachel's child and not actually a robot. But this doesn't turn out to be true. He is a robot, but his memories are real. But they were implanted by this lady, and they're her memories. She was the Chosen One. And this is cool from a movie perspective because it subverts your expectations and makes the protagonist not very important. And that's a good thing to realize, you know, that you aren't the center of attention and that you're not the main character and maybe not that important. But that leads to another problem. A lot of the themes and imagery in this movie are originally from this book, which I have. I bought it from a secondhand bookstore in San Francisco. Here's the part from the movie. Oh, look at me. Look how cool I am. I have it. Wow.
Would you read to me?
Yes, I'll read.
Anyway, I read it, and it's fine. It's a big poem by one guy at the front, and then in the second half of the book is like a weird novel. The part from the movie is in the poem, and the poem kind of has a sad backstory because the author, wrote one of the cantos about a dream he had when he was dying, and he saw a white fountain and he thought it was the afterlife. And he met up with this person who said she saw the same thing, but that wasn't true. It was a misunderstanding. And obviously he was sad because he had this whole grand narrative in his head that turned out to be false. And Kay had a very similar thing happen to him with those memories. He thought it was something else, and he built up a narrative, and then he was disappointed. And the whole point of the movie is explained a lot better in the other video essays that I was screaming about earlier, like the human soul and what it means to be a human and how we relate to each other. But I'm gonna focus more on the part about how we use memories and associated feelings to make up little stories about ourselves and make us the center of attention, or to prove to the world that we matter and that we exist and that we are important to the story. And it's the subversion of that where Kay is not important that people attach to. They're like, oh yeah, he's realistic. I feel like him. I'm not important. And I think that is just as self-centered as making yourself the center of attention. For example, going to a party and mansplaining a bunch of philosophical platitudes that you stole. Because on the other end is the guy who sits in the corner, silent and tough and mysterious, hoping that people see him and think that about him. And they both have the same motive, you know, they're trying to display a certain behavior and then have people think certain things about you. And being alone and learning how to be alone is not bad. It's actually a really good thing if you're actually trying to work on yourself, but I don't feel like that's the case most of the time. And loneliness could be an outlet for dangerous behavior, but that's not really what I'm focusing on right now. I'm saying that it's more of like a weird attempt to be passive and to not talk to women when you secretly want to. And it's not even just talking to girls, it's just taking risks or even just talking with your friends and sharing your thoughts and feelings. Because if you just walk around looking sad and tough, wanting people to ask you like, hey, what's wrong? They're not gonna do it. You're just gonna bottle it up. You need to talk to someone. Go to therapy. Admit it. Someone hurt you, or multiple people hurt you, or the whole world hurt you, but you need to forgive them. And that's why you don't trust enough to be with people. So you walk around alone and romanticize it in the hopes that maybe someone will notice how sophisticated and tough you are and say, hey, come here, I'll hold you. Like, jeez. And in the movie, Joe grows out of it. It's very fast. It's a movie and it happens in a matter of minutes. But, you know, he realizes he's not special, and he doesn't just choose to sulk alone and be resentful. He leads Decker to his daughter, and it sucks that he dies because, like, if he didn't, maybe he could have gotten a nice new job, and he could have stopped killing all of his robot friends, and he could have had, like, a poker night with the guys, with the robot guys, and he could have had a real girlfriend. But he does die, and that sucks. But if it teaches me anything, it's that I should stop being a cog in some machine, stop chasing a fantasy, and live my life trying to be better. Because, like him, I might not be the protagonist of the whole story, but I am of my life, whether it's metaphysically or philosophically real, or whatever.
Hey there.
Actually, let's go. He's a weeb.
You don't even smile.
Didn't you hear your friends? Don't you know what I am?
Yeah. A guy going to the gym. What's this?
Nothing.
Oh. You don't like real girls. Well, later, I guess.